Hey guys, this is Andy with Get Your Wellies. Welcome back. I am going to be using one of my favorite gardening tools today to start some seeds, even though it's the middle of November. But we'll get into that here in a minute. But for now, why don't you get your wellies, meet me in the garden. So many of you will remember this from a few weeks back. This is the seed starting tray. This tray has multiple holes, actually 23, and it is great for just getting seeds up and going. They're going to be in a peat pod once they're going, and you can transplant that outside, at least if it's the springtime you can, or if you have a greenhouse, I guess you could use that over the winter. I don't have anything like that, so what I did was take this tray out, and I have replaced the original 6-hole tray. The holes are a little larger. The tray is designed for growing plants to maturity. So we're going to take a look at that, and then I'm going to tell you what we're growing in there. So guys, this is the Aerogarden. I'm going to lift this light up a little bit here so I have room to work. There we go. And here's a couple of pods. These are empty pods. We just got to put peat in here, and then we can plant our seeds in there. And I'm actually just going to do 2 places in this one. Let me turn this light on. I'm going to do 2 in here. For now, that's all I'm actually going to do. So these other ones will be covered up. That stops evaporation of the water. And then I'm just going to plant 2 plants. We'll talk about those here in just a second. Alright guys, so this here is the seed pod. So it has the peat stick already in it now, and I'm going to plant my seeds directly into that, and it will go into the Aerogarden. So now the thing is, what are we going to grow? Well, on the last couple of videos you saw me pulling green tomatoes out of the garden so that we wouldn't lose them, and you know, we ate on tomatoes for quite a while, gave quite a few away, so it was a good experience. And definitely, if you have not had a hard freeze yet, or really not had any freeze, I would go pick your tomatoes. But I love tomatoes, so this is what I'm going to grow, and I'm going to grow it indoors in the Aerogarden. Because these are really small. They are micros. They will grow at the most, they'll get to maybe 8 inches tall. Last year I grew some and got tomatoes in February, and they grew to be about 6 inches tall or so. They really kind of belong in a fairy garden, but in the house they're very well protected. So the hydroponic system lends itself really well to growing them because all the nutrients are readily available. So it is now November 16th, and I suspect that by January we should start having some tomatoes. These are a determinate variety. I do recommend that if you can get your hands on some of these, and they are from Baker Creek Seed Company, so they're available on rareseeds.com. If you can get your hand on some, Baker Creek says minimum 10 seeds per packet. Normally they're a little more generous than that. My experience has been about 50% more, or sometimes even double. But if you grow these, the first couple 3 tomatoes you get, I would save the seeds from them, and just because they're expensive, you don't get many. If you want to share them with people, I love telling people about these because they don't realize a lot of people don't realize there are tomatoes that are super small that you could grow in a sunny window or in a system like the Aerogarden that we're looking at here. So anyway, that's what I'm going to grow, so follow me along as I put those in. Alright guys, so I've turned the light off just because I think it's almost a little overpowering on the Aerogarden. So I'm just going to drop 1 seed in there, and then another one, Now I got pretty good germination rate last year. I mean, almost 100%. In fact, it might have been 100%. So I'm gonna go with 2. They are expensive. The good news is when I opened that seed packet up, there was in excess of 20 seeds. There was probably 25 seeds or so. So that's not too bad. And you just drop them down in there. Sometimes they'll kind of drop down inside. Sometimes they sit on top. Generally, they do fine. I don't worry too much about where they land. As long as they are in there somewhere, they'll generally get a hold. Now you'll also notice that I have these open areas. You can buy these caps from Amazon that fit in these systems perfectly, and what that does, it just stops evaporation. It also stops a lot of the light getting in to where there would be a lot of algae in here. So I cover those up. This is where we put the feed in here and check the water level, which looks to be about right for right now. You'll have to feed these plants every 2 weeks. And starting out, let me show you the feed. And this is the liquid plant food for the Miracle-Gro Aerogardens. It has pretty easy directions. These, you feed according to how many pods you have plants in. So this is a small amount, so it's calling for 2 and 3 pods that you would feed 4 mils at the start and then every 2 weeks. So I can tell you what I like to do. If I'm just seed starting, I generally don't feed them until they're 2 weeks in. And there is a light on the system down here at the bottom. Let me see. There's a light here that is going to tell you when it needs food. This tells you if you're low on water, and this is a light switch. You can use this to set it automatically, or you can manually turn the lights off if you need to. I also have, if you notice, this reservoir of water behind. That's also made by Aerogarden. Honestly, it's a little bit expensive for what it is, but it just works off a siphon. You can see it going into the system right here. I do like it though, because we sometimes will take a trip and my son will stay at the house, and I don't want to burden him with keeping up with my gardening stuff, because sometimes it's kind of a lot. So anyway, so I just measure my feeds out in a syringe, and the first feed, which I have already put in, I do half of what they call for, which was 2 mils. The cap is 4 mils on these containers, and it's just easier to measure it out in a syringe. Shake it up good, measure it out in a syringe, and then you're pretty precise about things. When you hit the plant feed button, it'll actually start circulating the water around, and it does that every 30 minutes for about 5 minutes. So that's how the plants get fed. So I'm gonna turn the light on. I'm gonna lower this down so the plants can, as soon as they emerge, they'll wake up to some bright light that should help them get going. And this is almost therapeutic for me. I think if any of you have Aerogardens, you may think the same thing. But in the winter, when even if you grow something out there, it's pretty miserable. It is not like the summer season. There are some advantages because you don't have to worry about bugs as much and things like that. But this is really fun. I get to check out my tomato plants every day at breakfast time. The system's easy to maintain. So anyway, guys, well, thanks for joining me. I hope that as the weeks go by, I'll be able to show you some progress here, and hopefully you'll enjoy this. There are smaller systems of Aerogardens. This one here, which I need to do something with. I think I may grow some basil in this one. This one's just a 3-pod system. It's a lot cheaper. I actually have another one that I can do an unboxing on. If you all would be interested in that, you can just let me know in the comments below if you would like to see an unboxing. They're pretty easy to set up, but if it helps you make a decision about buying one or not, then I'd be happy to do that. So anyway guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day. Enjoy the gardening that you can do, and for now, goodbye, and I will see you later. Bye now.